See, I brought my family, but it's closed. Ayah. Hello, good morning. Okay, hi, you're watching Gregsby Eats, and I'm here at Golden Mile Food Centre to talk about a Cantonese roast meat stall that has been drawing in the crowds every time it's open. The stall is called Choon Roasted Delights, and it is run by a couple, Mr. and Mrs. Koh. They started in the late 1990s or so, early 2000s, around that time period, and they were initially based in an industrial park canteen in Ang Mo Kio. And in those 20 years, they brushed up their skills in roasting meat before moving to Golden Mile Food Centre in 2019. So come, let's have a taste. Hello， 两个人吃啊，三样全部加肉啊。那个 duck 可以给我 water duck 吗 ？Also one rice 啊。Thank you 啊。Okay, I'm back from the store and I ordered everything that they offer lah. I got the roast duck, which I ordered a quarter of the roast duck, where the leg is. And then I ordered the char siu and I ordered the siu yo, the barbecue pork and the roast pork. I ordered extra everything lah, okay? Extra char siu, extra siu yo, extra duck. I ordered one rice, I got the chili sauce, everything here. So let's not waste time and let's try their coveted char siu. Fantastic. The char siu has a very nice meat to fat ratio. It's about roughly 50% meat and 50% fat, mainly because they only use the pork belly to actually roast the char siu. Normally roast meat hawkers will use the shoulder to actually roast the char siu, but then increasingly this is the trend to make it very, very nice and fatty and soft and so on and so forth. And plus it's got a very nice glaze to it, quite a deep flavour, very rounded, very earthy and not too sweet. But that said, right, the problem about using pork belly is that because they try and get the fat to be super melty and to get the caramelized flavour, right, they actually don't focus on the meat itself. Sometimes stalls will actually ignore the tenderness of the meat on the char siu. So the char siu at this stall is mostly spot on, but the meat part, right, can sometimes come a little bit dry on occasion, but doesn't really matter too much because there's so much fat on the meat here, right, that it actually covers up the sin of actually not being as moist as it could be. Now the other big highlight is the roast duck. Oh, well roasted. It's very good roast duck. The skin has a soft roasted crispiness and there's enough fat richness inside, and the meat is fairly juicy And as for the flavour, there's a decent herbalness to it. There's a savouriness, very light savouriness. Now let's try something with a bit more meat on it, okay? Breast meat will always be drier than meat close to the bone. That's the reality, but there is still a decent amount of moisture inside the meat. Pretty impressive. They actually drizzle a bit of a duck soy sauce on it. It's basically duck juice and some soy sauce and it looks roughly like that. Intense soy savouriness. It's a bit of intense sweetness as well, but it's not sweet, and it would actually go very well with the meat itself. I'm dipping some of the meat in the sauce. Oh, this looks great. And this will help to alleviate some of the drier bits. Okay, next the siu yok, okay? Trying the meat part. Right? Very soft. So trying the crispy part, crunch test. Okay, very, very good siu yok. The skin has got a very nice biscuit crunch. The fat bit is also nice and soft and melting as well. The meat bit is very slightly dry. That's the dilemma with siu yok. How do you get the meat to be juicy and then yet to have the skin to be crispy and the fats to be melting? It's very hard to achieve. I've only encountered basically about a handful of stalls, maybe 2 or 3 stalls, which can actually achieve that. This isn't one of the stalls, but it does come very, very close. The other thing also is that for this stall, right, the suyu yolk isn't as consistent as it could be. Sometimes it comes out nice, but sometimes the meat isn't as moist as it could be, the skin isn't as crispy. But the good news is that the inconsistency has been happening less and less. Okay, next, the chili sauce on the side. Slightly sweet, oil-rich, quite a prominent dried prawn flavor. The spiciness is in the medium, maybe a little bit towards the lighter side, and it's fairly earthy too. I think that they do use vegetable oil to do the chili sambal, which is unfortunate, but that's quite common. It would be better if it was lard. But it will go well with the roast pork, as the roast pork flavor is relatively plainer. So I'm going to take a bit of the roast pork and put some chili sauce. Makes the flavor nice and full, and gives it an even richer flavor. Okay, so the rice is alright, but this is one of their weak points. Actually okay today. Sometimes the rice can come very, very soft, but today there's a little bit more of a toothy bite, which is great. There's the gravy, which they throw on. Okay, sticky brown gravy. It's on the slightly sweeter side, light savouriness. And just FYI, if you want to know, they've got some cucumbers and they've got the skin on. The other thing also good about this place is that they tend to actually chop things up fairly sizable into nice meaty parts, nice chunks. It's not like slivers or anything. Okay, finished. So that was a look at Choon Roasted Delights. But would I travel half across Singapore to eat here? Maybe or maybe not, depends lah. You can probably find a good roast meat stall as good as this one near your area if you do a bit of research. If you were to compare the stall to the average roast meat stall, right, this is like a few levels up lah from there. I wouldn't call it in the top 5 range or anything like that. It's what I call a really good neighborhood roast meat stall lah. Plus, it only has 3 kinds of roast meat here lah. And none of the more unusual roast meats that stalls used to offer in the past, like the pork ribs and the roasted sausage. But don't get me wrong, it really is a fantastic roast meat stall. And it's one that I'll probably go to on a weekly basis if I lived here or if I worked in the area. And the crowd seems to agree lah, as you can see, there's always a constant queue here. So thanks for watching another episode of Great Smee Eats, where I eat through the whole of Singapore. If you like this episode, give it a like, subscribe and comment below, and I will see you in the next one for more eating. Bye bye.